Hi everybody, it's Chris here from Cin7. I'm the Solutions Engineer for our region, the UK and the EMEA, and I'm here today to take you through the basics of Cin7 Core, give you an idea of what the software could do and how it could be a help for you. So in general, Cin7 Core is inventory and order management software. We describe it as ERP-like, which basically means we take a lot of ERP-like functionality. We take away some of the accounting elements, a little bit of the HR, and for most businesses, it then acts as a center of operations and a source of truth for their stock levels, stock transactions, and financial records. So most businesses are using Cin7 Core to manage their stock, their purchasing, their sales, their dispatch, their warehouses, their multi-location stock, production, reporting, forecasting, and a lot more. Now, we work with any business that's buying and selling stock, almost any vertical, from pet food all the way to specialist electronics, solar panels, heat pumps, general retail merchandise. If you're selling, we can have you on Cin7 Core. We don't mind what volume you're selling at either. We've got very, very small sellers all the way up to people selling in multiple countries, shipping out millions of sales orders a year. We work particularly well with anybody who is selling B2B or D2C, in person, online, over the phone, email, or a mix of all of those. And we consider ourselves to be absolutely top of the market in terms of functionality. Now, if you're watching this video, it's likely you've had a look at some inventory management systems or some ERPs in the past. We consider ourselves to be quite special because we focus on a few different areas. First of all, with our functionality, which we'll take a quick look at today. Secondly, with the ease of use, everything here is designed to be picked up very, very quickly, even with those people who don't have technical backgrounds. And obviously, the reliability and the accuracy are incredibly important to the way we work. So, Cin7 Core is a trusted source of truth. It's one that gets every financial transaction correct. It's one that gets every stock level calculation correct. And it's one where you can log in and see exactly how the business is performing, and you can really trust that. Another key point to mention is that there's a lot of flexibility in getting started with Cin7 Core. So a traditional ERP system might take you months and months, or maybe even years to get set up on, if it's even set up properly at all. With Cin7 Core, you're looking at between 4 and 12 weeks to get up and running properly. And just to give you a bit of reassurance, we've got our system, but we are one of the most integrated systems out there. We've got about 700 integrations as standard. So again, doesn't matter where you're selling, whether you're selling on marketplaces, e-commerce channels, you're selling direct to big box retailers, you're shipping these goods out yourself, you've got a 3PL that does it, maybe you're mixing and matching between the two, we can cover that on Cin7 Core. A little bit more about who we are as a company, and then I promise you we'll go straight into the system. We're an incredibly experienced software provider. We've been around for around 12 years now. We've got about 8,500 customers using Cin7, and we process about 125 million sales orders through our systems yearly. So we've really seen it all. We understand every scenario, every challenge, and we know how to solve them. Okay, so enough talking about the theoretical. Let's take a look at Cin7 Core and see how it works. First thing to mention here is Cin7 Core is a fairly customizable system. So we can play around a little bit with the interface. We can play around a little bit with how all the modules work, and we can set up automations between different modules to make our life easier. Now, Cin7 Core is a nearly all-in-one solution. So, as I mentioned, it covers off all of your purchasing of stock, whether that's through purchase orders, or if you want to bring things into stock, you can do that here. Your sales orders, so whether you're dispatching those on system or whether you're doing that through our warehouse management module, or whether you have a third party who's doing all your dispatch, or you're selling to Amazon and they're doing that for you too. That's covered as part of our sales order module. Now, depending on where you're selling, those might be coming from different sources, but that's all covered. Production, So if you are doing very simple production, you're doing kits and bundles or just really basic assemblies, that's part of our production module. But we also have quite advanced manufacturing done with these production orders. So you can do multi-stage manufacturing and you can include your resources like labor, time, machinery alongside your components and track all of that, track your wastage and have that reported on. So you get a completely accurate idea of your costs for production. And there's a lot of automations around that that make it very, very powerful and it acts as a full-on manufacturing system. Alongside that, you've got capacity planning and you've got a scheduler as well. Our inventory module covers all of your products. So Cin7 Core acts as your centralized product database where you can take a look at your livestock levels. And then you've got all these additional standard inventory tools like doing stock takes, adjustments, transfers between different locations, write-offs as well, and a little bit more that we'll talk about later. In terms of financials, we do have an inbuilt financial package, but we also have very strong integrations up to financial programs like Xero, QuickBooks Online, and iPlicit. We do have some basic CRM functionality. If you would like to track your leads, especially for the B2B, and convert those into opportunities and set tasks against them, not full CRM functionality, but enough that you can make good use of it. And another part of that is the customer and supplier databases that we have just as standard. So if you want to look at your customers and see what they've ordered in the past, report on that, report on the profitability per customer, that's all possible. We've got our reporting module, which is over 70 reports that are inbuilt into Cin7 Core. Most of these are pivot table based, which means that you can modify them, save them, send them out automatically as you need. And as I mentioned, we've got over 700 integrations and we'll run through those all together. So quite a lot to cover. I will run through things at a bit of a surface level today, but I just want to explain generally how stock flows through the system and how those financial transactions are generated. Just to make life easier, if you've been using spreadsheets, if you've been using an alternate system, you're not quite sure how they work and they're looking a little bit more effort than they're worth. This should simplify things for you. It's what we're aiming for with Cin7 Core. So when you log into the system, you're presented with this dashboard here. It gives you an overview of general business performance with some quick links and some KPIs. And you get an idea of generally how much money is flowing in with your bills and with your orders. There's a few more widgets that we can set up on this dashboard, and this is customizable per user. So the person logged in is only going to see what they need to see. Very high level overview, but gives you a basic idea, and then you can drill down a lot further in the reports or the different modules if you want to see something specific. So moving on to the heart of the system, it's definitely the inventory management piece. So as I mentioned, Cin7 Core acts as this centralized location for all your stock. If you want to see your stock items listed out here, you've got all your basic information on them, like the SKU code and the name and the unit and the type of stock. And you've got whether this is an active product or one that we have used in the past or one that's been deactivated. We've got product families. So if you have variants of a different product with size, color, and style, you can set that up very easily in Cin7 Core. And you've also got other types of items like service items, which you're not going to hold stock of, and also components, which might be made into finished goods. So if you want to see your stock levels, those are all calculated for you live. You can come in, quickly search for an item, or take it from the list, see the basic information about that item, see where it's stored, which location. We can even go down to the bin level for that, so you can see exactly where it's sitting in your warehouse. You've got an accurate stock value, so we'll only work off accurate cost of goods sold for your products. You've got on hand, which is the figure that you would find if you walked around your warehouse counting these. You've got available, so those are available for sale on future sales orders, on order, coming in on purchase orders, or perhaps production orders that haven't been completed. And then you've got allocated going out on future sales orders. If we want to, we can also click into these to get a little bit more detail. So if I click on hand, I can see exactly where this is sitting. If I have products with serial numbers or batch codes, then I will be able to see this availability broken down by those two, and you get full traceability of that throughout the system. So when we're bringing stock in to Cin7 Core, that's normally done in a couple of ways. If you find stock just sitting around the warehouse, you can always do a stock adjustment to bring your stock level up to the correct amount. But in the vast majority of cases, we either bring that in on a purchase order or we're producing those goods ourselves. So let's bring some items into stock. We've got a list of all of our purchase orders here, and we can see the complete statuses of them by taking a look at these icons. So if an icon is green, it indicates to us that that stage has been completed. If it's orange, it's something that's in progress. And if it's blank, it's something that hasn't been started yet. We can see the totals for all of our purchase orders and all the financial aspects of that. We can see the supplier, which is pulled from our supplier database with all of the specific pricing for that supplier. We can see when this is placed. And of course, we've got our own purchase order reference number. Let's create a purchase order and we'll bring some products into stock. So all we have to do is pick our supplier from our list. All of their details are filled out here. All of the accounting details are filled out here for us automatically, depending on what we've saved against them. And all the shipping details, where those items are going to be ending up, are filled in for us as well. If we scroll down, we can decide what we want on that purchase order. So in this case, I know exactly which products I want on there. I just pick them from our product database, or I scan them, or I can just type those in, put in the quantities that we want. If I want to, I can also update the pricing, and that purchase order has been placed. Cin7 Core will also make all of the documentation for us, and this is fully customizable as well. When this purchase order arrives in stock, we can either come into our stock receive tab and just scan it all in, or we can copy it across, or we can use our warehouse management system and we can scan the items there if we want to keep this on a device that's connected to a barcode scanner and we want to make sure that everything is 100% accurate. Once we've marked that in stock, you'll see the stock levels go up for these particular items. And of course, at any point, we can just hover over them and see exactly how much we've got available and exactly how much we've got on order and how much of that stock is sitting in other locations as well. Now, if you want to do a basic purchase order, that's great. You can do that through the simple purchase order, or we can use the reorder tool if we want to work off of safety stock levels. So this tool here, very, very smart. It looks at your current stock. It looks at how much stock you should have as a safety stock level, and it compares the two and creates purchase orders for you with the click of a button. So if I want to order from one particular location, I set that location, I go through, I either pick my suppliers or I select all of my suppliers to make multiple purchase orders, scroll down, and the system has compared my minimum before reorder or my safety level and my reorder quantity that I need on that purchase order against my available level of stock. And it's told me how much I should be reordering. And of course, we can always change that too. Once I hit the reorder button, it's going to make all those purchase orders for me. So a very, very smart way of doing things very quickly. It's also worth mentioning here that we acquired a tool called Foresight AI, which is a very, very smart AI machine learning based forecasting tool for your stock. So it helps you avoid stock outs, it helps you avoid overstocking, and it makes sure that your stock levels are correct at all times. It can see very far into the future, and it uses this reorder tool to calculate the actual stock level that you're going to need. So it's just a much smarter way of doing this. Always happy to demonstrate that further on a call if you're interested in taking a look. And I'll put a bit more information at the bottom of this video so that you can watch a full demonstration of how that works. But it's a very smart tool, very worth taking a look into because it can save you money very, very quickly. So moving swiftly on, our sales order module is where you can manage all of your sales. So if you've bought your stock in through the purchasing module, next thing you're going to want to do after you've worked out how much stock you have is to send these out to your customers. And we can do that very easily through the sales order module. So Cin7 Core is constantly pulling in your sales from all of your different connected sales channels, or you can register these sales manually through here, or customers can even log into a B2B portal that we can hook up to Cin7 Core, which is very easy to build, and they can place their orders through there. Again, if we want to take a look at any of our sales, we can set up our own filters. We can search for particular sales orders or for particular customers, or we can just click into a sales order to see more details. But it's very, very easy to see where a sales order is, see what status it is, and see all of the finances and the stock movements behind that. I'll create a sales order very quickly to show you how easily that's done. All we do is search for our customer in a very similar way that we search for our supplier, and it just pulls that info from our customer database. And then we add what we want onto this sales order. As with lots of areas in Cin7 Core, if we want to do things a bit quicker, we can sometimes use intelligent document recognition. So if we want to register a sale completely based on a PDF that a customer has sent us, we can have the sales order filled out automatically, or we can import all of our line items from a CSV file if they've sent one of those over to us too, so we don't have to key things in manually. When we're happy with what's on that sales order, again, Cin7 Core will generate all the documents for us, and as part of our automations, we can send that out automatically to the customer so they can see their invoice or they can just see the order documents. And if we want, we can create a back-to-back purchase order based on this sales order. So in one click, we can just have that ready to go for our suppliers, and they can deliver that, whether that's directly to us, one of our warehouses, or whether that's going to our customer. We've got a few stages in the back end of this sales order for dispatching this. This is normally best done on the WMS app that we have, because then you can have your barcode scanner integrated and it helps to validate what's going out to your customer rather than relying on any manual work. But the 3 stages that you can also do in the back end here are picking, and we might use auto pick functionality, packing into the box, and then shipping this off to our customer. And just bear in mind here as well, we don't have to do all these stages if we don't want to. We could just have 1 stage for shipping this out and skip the other 2, or we can have 2, or we can do all 3 depending on our preference. Once we let the system know how many packages this is going out into, that item has been shipped out to our customer. If we have an integration up to one of your couriers through the ShipStation or ShipTheory, we can also have the label generated there and pulled back into Cin7 Core, so you can print the label off, put it on the box, and send it out. And what you'll find is that because these items have been picked and packed, their stock quantities have been reduced by the appropriate amount. So we brought the stock into the system, it's sat in our warehouse, we have an understanding of where it is, exactly how much it's cost us, and then we've sent it out on these sales orders to our customers. Now, there's a lot more we can do with the orders, of course. If we want to bring that stock back in with a restock, if we've got a customer return, we can do that with the credit note. We can also put a bit more detail into this if it's a B2B order, add some comments, add some custom fields, add some attachments, and all of that is stored within Cin7 Core. And as I mentioned on the purchase order, a lot of this additional information in terms of accounting is filled out for us automatically. And then depending on our accounting integration, we might be sending across the invoices automatically to our accounting software, which means that we don't need to do any double entry. We don't need to be hopping between systems to try and line up the figures. It's all done for us. Okay, so one other way that you might bring stock into Cin7 Core is through the production module. So as I mentioned, we've got basic assemblies. where you can take a finished good and produce it using components. Taking this one as an example, we are producing this finished good here, which is a multi-pack or a kit. And we're creating that by assembling these components. So we're taking down these components by one each, and we're producing our finished good, which is this SKU code here. And we're producing one of those and bringing it into stock. Now we can always decide whether we want to have that done automatically for us or whether we want to have a list of assemblies that we work through. If we have somebody putting these together and putting them aside, we might just do it on a per order basis. It's all dependent on your business. It's a very flexible system and you can use lots of elements in it in combination with each other, depending on exactly what you need. Second half of that is production orders. As we briefly alluded to, a production order is if you're doing more complex manufacturing and you want to be able to track the stages of a manufacturing job. You might have different steps with different components, different resources, different notes, different ways of doing things, and you want really granular tracking on exactly how much time it's taken, exactly how much labor has been put into it, and exactly how much wastage it's produced. You can do that with production orders. And the other elements of that are the capacity planner, where we can plan out our capacity for all of our resources in the future, and the scheduler, where we can take a look at all of our production and try and schedule it in a better way based on the sale or based on the item that's being produced. So a fairly comprehensive way of doing production, that's all inbuilt. Taking a look at the reporting for that, as we've previously discussed, we've got 70 reports inbuilt into Cin7 Core. Most of these are pivot table based, which means that we can adjust them as we want, and then we can save our preferences. So if you want to see the reports with a certain filter applied to them, or you want to see them with a certain date range, or you want to rearrange any of these columns to find exactly what you need, you can do that live and the system will just adjust all the figures based on what you've actually sold. It provides a really detailed breakdown on things like your sales or your purchases or your production or any mix between them. We also have the ability to export them to PDF or Excel, and we can do that automatically if we want to email them out to somebody that needs to see them but doesn't necessarily want to log in to Cin7 Core. Very similar for most of our reporting. There is some more advanced reporting that we can integrate up with, and I'll run through that now. So we've only really scratched the surface of what Cin7 Core can do. I just wanted to cover off the basics today to give you an understanding of how the stock works within the system and how you might be doing things like creating purchase orders or dispatching your sales orders. But there is a lot more that can be done. So we've got a lot of apps that are built into Cin7. They are built by us, maintained by us, and they just work off the back of what we provide. First one of those is the B2B portal. So that is if your customers want to place their own orders, you don't want to do things manually with them anymore. They want to log in and see their pricing, see a particular B2B catalog, and be able to place orders very, very quickly based on what they've ordered in the past. That's all supported by our B2B portal. We've got the RMA module. So if you want to do more complex returns, you want to set policies, you want to set warranties for your items or groups of items, you can do that, and your customers can have a portal where they log in and it's all built for you. Again, we're simplifying things. If you want to build your own connections up to other systems, we have our open API, which means that you can do that or pay a developer to that. If you want to do something a bit more custom, we've got Cin7 Pay, which is our inbuilt payment solution, which allows you to take payment directly from invoices or over the phone. Very, very useful. Loads of payment methods available with that. And it's something that we're really encouraging people to use because it's a very, very seamless way of collecting those payments. We have our integrations up to accounting solutions like Xero and QuickBooks and iPlicit. We have our point of sale, which is inbuilt, pretty much full functionality point of sale. Very impressive, gives everybody else a bit of a run for their money. And the WMS, if you want to walk around the warehouse and scan items in and scan them out as part of your dispatch or your booking in process, it also has a full suite of stock tools on there, like stock takes, stock adjustments, bin transfers. That's all inbuilt as well. Very, very smooth app. Works on iPhone, works on tablets, works on Android as well. And then we have a few other really key integrations, so more payment integrations, CRM integrations, integrations up to different marketplaces like Amazon and eBay, and of course, different e-commerce channels like Shopify, Magento, and WooCommerce. Essentially, what we're doing for these integrations is we are pulling down sales orders, dispatching them through our system, or sending them over to 3PLs for dispatch, pulling back that tracking information and sending that automatically up to the different sales channels, marking your orders as dispatched so that your customers know. And the second part of that is we're pushing up your live stock levels so that you're never overselling. And with our Foresight AI capabilities, we're making sure that you always have stock available so that you're never missing out on any sales too. So a lot of these integrations are just running in the background. They are helping to automate those parts of your business that have been really tricky before. And another part of that is the integration up to shipping services. So ShipStation, ShipIt, and ShipTheory will be the key ones there. So if you're shipping out in any courier, really in the UK or around Europe, like DPD or Royal Mail or FedEx or Parcel Force, anyone really, they've probably been connected to by ShipStation, and that integration allows us to generate those labels and send it off directly to the courier without having to type in customer information or shipping information like addresses. So very, very powerful tool, again, really focused on automation. We've got a few more integrations that a lot of people are using, especially if they want really advanced specialist reporting. They may have built those integrations themselves, or we have integrations up to systems like Wink Reports. And then there is a lot more to Cin7 that we haven't been able to cover today. But that's everything that I wanted to run through in our little tour. We really welcome any questions. If you are interested in seeing more of the software, please do reach out to us. We would be happy to take you through a tour of the system. And I hope you've enjoyed taking a look at everything today. Thank you very much.